Okay, this is Tom here, and I just completed a hypermile, the way Bjorn does, but had a couple stop signs to deal with, and I just went up and down local roads. I tried to maintain about 25 to 30 miles an hour, sort of steady, but I started with 29 miles of rated electric range. Gasoline, of course, stayed at 290, of course, because I didn't use any gasoline. And let's take a look now at what I wound up with. So I'm just going to use the buttons here. And we'll see right now our tank average is 89.0. And remember trip A, I zeroed it out before it. And I averaged about 20 miles an hour. I went for 2 hours and 28 minutes before the battery. You couldn't put any more gas on it anymore for EV range. The motor kicked in, so I coasted back to my driveway here. And if you look at the mileage, we hypermiled this 9.5 or 9.9 kilowatt battery pack that shows a rated range normally of 29 miles, 49.7 miles. So that's pretty darn good. We're 0.3 of a mile shy of 50 miles. And that was my goal. I want to try to get as close to 50 as possible. So I didn't quite make it 0.3 of a mile. Maybe if I just idled it in electric mode for a little bit, but I wanted to get back here. We have some storms coming in. I just wanted to show you this. So 49.7 miles in electric mode on a battery pack that is supposed to only give you 29 miles. And I still have some left. Notice the meter down at the lower left hand. That's the battery meter there. And when you're in blue, you're operating fine. It went to 0. I kept operating this car in electric mode. And if you notice, I went below the blue line. So we have some range left in the battery, but it's mostly for the hybrid mode, so your car would stop at stoplights and be able to just not idle. So I believe that would be about 10%. So we're not using the full battery pack. If we had just a little bit more, or maybe a couple hills to coast down, I was on flat ground, I bet we would have gotten to 50 miles. But I'm very pleased with this. This is a great car and everything. I'm going to give a shout out to Bjorn, who does the hypermiling over in Norway. And also I want to give a shout out to James in Japan for Electrified Journeys Japan. And he showed me a little thing with his flicker, and I'm going to do the same thing, because if you, excuse my hand, if you push the flicker down and back up real quick, oops, didn't do it right. Hang on here. Let me get this thing. Let me use the other hand. It's easier. Okay, so if you just tap it, I have mine set to 7 blinks. And because we got such crazy drivers up here on the highways and you want to make a lane change, I just tap that. It gives me 7 blinks so I can make my lane change and still have my blinker going. I don't want to get yelled at for not using my blinker. And I can hold it down too, and it'll go. But James showed that on his little N box that he's just got, his little K-car Honda, and his does that too. When you tap it, it does the blinking. So I just did it again here just to kind of demonstrate that. We're still sitting. It's still a shade over half a mile. I mean, half a tank of gasoline. And the rated range is about, it fluctuated between 291, 292, I think, depending on the sloshing around of the gasoline in the tank and the float that's doing the measuring. But overall, very pleased. And keep tuning in. Thank you very much for watching this quick little range test. And be sure to like and subscribe. And if you want to follow me, there's a little bell. Tap on the bell. And we will see you soon with another video. The next one I plan is the car show up at the Automotive Gallery, and I'll show you the cars that are there. I'm entering the Leaf in that too, so I'm going to drive the Leaf up to Green Bay, and it's going to be one of the show cars. So we'll see you later.